Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Q-Strike. I know I usually bring Necro PvP commentary, however, over the course of the stress test, I managed to try out a high CC survivability warrior that, when put together with the fact that I was in Skype with a buddy of mine, made for some really interesting gameplay. It's very much a team-oriented build, and I'm not sure how much success you'd have running around by yourself, but I can only assume ArenaNet's going to make it so you can queue in pre-made groups eventually, and definitely when that does happen, if it does happen, I think you're going to start seeing a lot more different support-oriented builds coming out as people try to find their niche playstyle that they want to try out. Now, this build just has huge amounts of control as well as a very high survivability rate and still pretty moderate damage output. The weapon sets we're using are sword and shield as well as double axe. Now, you could go with hammer instead of double axe, which is just going to increase the control you do have exponentially, but unfortunately in 1v1 situations you would never be a threat to anybody. You'd have crazy control, but only to the point where your friendly teammates came to help you kill the enemy. In order to kill people yourself, or to be in that team fight controlling the enemy players and be that force where the enemy's kind of thinking, wow, maybe we do need to switch to this guy to try to get him, I felt you had to go with the double axe setup to be able to do that kind of stuff. Now, this setup is very much a team supporty kind of build, much like the support guardian, but instead of healing your allies so that they can fight for longer periods of time, you just shut down the enemies so that they're not able to damage your allies, making it so that your allies can fight for a longer period of time. It's very much the same kind of thought process, but very, very different play styles. So in order to understand that play style, first you need to understand what kind of control you do have available to yourselves. The first form comes in the setup of your traits. It's underneath the tactic tree, and it's a major trait called Leg Specialist. This is going to cause a 1-second immobilization whenever you cripple a target with a skill. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what cripples does this setup have available? You actually have one on each weapon set, which is super good. The first one is from your double axe weapon set. It's called simply Throw Axe, which is to throw an axe that is going to cripple your enemies. It's on a 10-second cooldown. So every 10 seconds you get a 1-second immobilize plus the cripple effect, which is pretty good by itself. The next one is from your sword and shield weapon set that is called Hamstring, which is going to cripple your foe with a precise slash. That one is on a 15-second cooldown. So the cooldown's a bit longer, but your sword and shield definitely has so much more CC available to it that you're not really going to notice it too much. As far as utility skills go, the only one you're going to take that's straight CC is your Throw Bolas. This is a 4-second immobilize that's on a 20-second cooldown. You can do this at range, so it's pretty good for catching, you know, if somebody's on your squishy and you just want to give them some breathing room. You can throw this, you know, every 20 seconds and try to create that gap for your teammates. Again, looking at your sword and shield, you have the Shield Bash. It's a 1-second stun, so it's a stun instead of immobilize on a 25-second cooldown. And the most important thing between immobilizers and stuns are just different abilities that can break stuns but can't break immobilizers, and the same thing, you know, in reverse, stuff that can do immobilizers but not stuns. So you just kind of try to figure out what enemy has what available to them to make sure that you're maximizing CC potential. The next one comes again from your sword and your shield, but this one is actually your burst skill, which is just the F1 ability for the warrior. It's called Flurry, and it's going to mobilize for, it's a maximum of 4 seconds. Basically, as you know, Adrenaline Bar has like 3 different bars that you fill up. So basically the immobilize starts at 2 seconds, goes up to 3 with 2, you know, bars of adrenaline, and then goes to 4 with max adrenaline. And this is going to immobilize the target and actually do some significant damage. So it's a pretty good thing. It's the reason why I choose sword over mace, because while mace has more reliable straight stun abilities, the sword definitely has the same amount of control when you really get down to it, while still much better damage output. And this will cause up to 11 seconds of pure lockout, and then your skill's already starting to come off a cooldown. and so depending on how much dodging the enemy does and how much you have to actually chain your CC together, you can actually pretty much take somebody out of a fight indefinitely just using those abilities. So let's go ahead and take a look at some gameplay footage. Basically at the start of this, me and my friend were heading up to the keep. He's a Mesmer buddy of mine, and we were just trying to see if we could keep it. Unfortunately, their entire enemy team decided to surround us. I immediately get hit with a cripple just as another warrior wearing a shield comes onto my Mesmer friend. I immediately hit him with my throw bolas just so that Mesmer can create some distance. I take a bunch of damage, so I decide to heal, pop my enduring pain, switch to my double axe setup so that I can soak that damage and do as much burst as humanly possible while enduring pain is up. I hit him with my whirl axe, immediately kite out once my enduring pain wears off, switch back to sword and shield, hit him with that shield bash, hit him with that throw bolas again, just creating a nice breathing space for my Mesmer to continue to do damage to him or whoever else he chooses. In fact, I create so much breathing space that he immediately has to switch to me because he realizes he's just not getting close to that Mesmer even though he is the higher priority target. So I kite out because now I realize that he's low and I need to go continue to support my Mesmer. Once I realize that I can't get to the necro my Mesmer was attacking, I do pop my elite and try to turn back, do what I can do to this warrior. However, he got taken out by another one of my teammates. I finish him off, immediately head back over to see what's up with my Mesmer, get onto the enemy Mesmer, immediately hit him with a shield bash, creating that good lockdown, hit him with a hamstring immediately afterward, making sure he cannot move until my Mesmer has finished him off. And that is just the power this build has. The amount of control that you can do and just your presence on the battlefield is so strong. If you were thinking about doing a supportive kind of warrior build but you don't like the the support aspect of the Guardian, try this. You could be pleasantly surprised. This was the clip that we saw playing in the background earlier. However, I didn't get to communicate about it, so I thought I'd go ahead and do that since my warrior gameplay is very minimal. Basically what you saw us doing is we were pretending to leave the point knowing that they would hop down and immediately try to cap it. What I did then was use my Savage Leap to get back onto this Necromancer, immediately hitting with my Shield Bash and ultimately switching my weapon set so that I can use that Whirling Axe to do as much damage as humanly possible. That Necromancer pops her elite ability, so I root her in place using my Throw Bolas to make sure she can't get that condition damage out. I hit her with my Throw Axe ability that's going to give her a 1 second immobilize plus a cripple to make sure she's not going any place while we finally manage to finish her off with the damage help from the Mesmer. Again, get onto this warrior. I pop my Endure Pain to make sure that I can stay in double axes long enough to get another Whirling Axe out before ultimately switching weapon sets, using that hamstring as well as that shield bash to make sure he can't go any place. He knocks me down, putting my throw bolas on a very short cooldown, so immediately when that follows, I go ahead, pop that, use my Savage Leap one more time for the damage potential as I finish him off with a Flurry. That's the sword burst ability, making sure that he's not going any place while we get the last amounts of damage out that we need to do. For this next fight, I'm just going to let it play out while I do what I always do, and I want to give a quick shout out to boonsandconditions.com. That's GW2BNC.com. For those that are unaware, that is an amazing fan site with articles, videos, podcasts, and live Twitch.tv shows that is just for the community. Everything's there for you guys. If you guys have any questions for myself or any of the other content writers, producers, contributors for that website, be leaving comments over there on the site itself. Feel free to leave comments on my personal YouTube channel as well as the Boons and Conditions YouTube channel. Definitely we get back to all that stuff, and we love each and every one of you equally without bias. It's true stuff. I'm Q Strike, and I definitely do love you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care, fellas.